Cash.
Who was that was saying that?
EBT card. Check 1. Credit card 2. Crypto 3.
You got crypto?
No, I don't, but I have a friend who took half of his mother-in-law's inheritance when she passed away, and he put 20 on that.
And he balling out?
He is.
Is he really? In crypto, right?
Yeah.
Well,
guess who?
Dave Wheeler.
Nope. The last person you'd ever think. Kyle.
Kyle did?
Yeah.
Really?
From Sons of Silverton?
No.
Different Kyle.
Our friend Kyle, Northside guy.
That's the homie, though. Me and Kyle went to high school together.
Yeah,
we were all
Kyle's,
doing music and shit.
Princeton.
No,
Walnut Hills.
We went. Yeah, he went to Walnut Hills and Princeton.
5Ds was most of them went to Walnut.
Yeah.
And we were in. We had American history class together.
Yeah.
Y'all was the smart kids, man.
Well,
yeah.
That's why Toby got expelled.
Yes, well, stay out of trouble, don't get caught.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what your dad always says.
When I was in high school, Walnut Hills, everybody had good grades,
Yep.
and they was like, that's where you could find the off-brand drugs, like drugs nobody else be doing. Like smart kids do different drugs, man.
Rare,
Really,
Right?
it was like, man, that's different.
exotic.
And it got
pills.
prescribed to me too.
Hey, so you can walk around with it, man. Well, everybody, put your drugs up, man, because we got a banger for you today, man. Back, my name is Six. You already know who you tuned in to, man. You tuned in to like 3 programs right now because it's gonna air on 3 different platforms. First and foremost, man, 91.7 WVXU, Urban Artifact, Radio Artifact. You tuned in each and every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Make sure you check it out, man. And you might also be checking this out on Type Shit Podcast here on YouTube. Type Shit Podcast. It's going to be a lot of that scratching today, man.
Right, yeah.
Especially with y'all here. I got to show it off, man.
Got to put it in there.
Yeah, man. Got some special guests here today. Some people you might know. Definitely done heard the sounds of them. How y'all introduce y'all? So,
I am Noah, a.k.a. Nozart, a.k.a. Noah the Natty Kid. Yeah, man, Noah what's up?
I'm Toby, sometimes called Tobatius.
Casual too.
Dan or DQ.
From the Animal Crackers.
Animal Crackers.
yes, sir, man. Animal Crackers, man. Legendary DJ crew. Y'all real innovative, man. Might have seen them at Scribble Jam. A lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
Y'all
We were lucky. We were in the kind of part 1.2 DJ culture.
Yeah,
of
like that big boom kind of in the 90s up to the early 2000s where it just kind of went from being kind of a one-dimensional thing to a multi-dimensional, multi-person kind of approach to things, which was really cool and very lucky to be a part of that era.
I don't know about how much innovation. I mean, there wasn't a lot going on anyway.
Right.
It was a wide open Ponderosa.
Yeah.
So,
But for y'all to be a crew of DJs that like come and just kill on one set in unison, that's different.
Well, it was for here. I mean, that idea wasn't something that we pioneered. That was something that we saw emulated in Scratch Pickles, in X-Men.
Yeah, X-Men, those guys, Beat Junkies.
Those are our heroes.
Yeah, Space Travelers. Just really kind of seeing this approach where it almost was just one guy, playing records for a couple MCs. It was, 2 guys, 3 guys, each having the turntable and creating like original music out of, breaks and stuff and just whatever was on. Whatever you can find on record is fair game. And that right there, I was like, oh, sweet. Bring it on. Like,
We kind of took some of the traditional band setup of a 3-piece or 4-piece band.
Mm-hmm.
And we just basically said our instruments aren't drums, bass, guitar, and, bass guitar. We're just going to do turntables.
Yeah. And then, which kind of developed back into, doing both at the same time, which was really a lot of work, but it was fun. Just having a band actually be multiple guys with turntables and then MCs rocking over that or singing or integrating instruments or beatboxing, which just makes it like an all-out jam, man. I mean, it's kind of hone those different skills within, the elements and outside of the elements. So,
Well, individually introduce yourselves and tell people where y'all from.
I'm Noah again. Noah I am from Cincinnati, born and raised. Born and raised.
Natty Nat.
Natty.
Toby, was born in Connecticut, was raised in Cincinnati. Went to school here and college here.
I did go to college.
What age you come from Connecticut?
Moved here when I was 3.
3.
Yep, and then I went back and forth for, all my family was basically from there. So that's really how I got really turned on to hip hop. Is in the summers, my family had a small cottage, other side of Long Island Sound, and at night we could get all those radio stations from New York, and I would just record cassette after cassette after cassette. Had come back at the end of the summer to go back to school with Adidas or Puma box full of recorded cassette tapes, and this was like the heyday of it's like '86 hip hop. So this is when all the
dudes are getting down on
all the it was like
magic.
Soap opera live on the air. Shantae, the Roxanne, all that shit was like happening live on air, and I was like copping all that shit and listening to that and coming back. I'd survive a whole year off those cassettes basically.
And you was exclusive if you had the mixtapes straight off the
and
air.
I had no idea. I mean, I had no idea what I did. It's like. My dumb ass, I trashed them all constantly, And then, slowly the record state or, radio here in Cincinnati started, parroting what New York was doing with hip hop radio,
But Dan.
Yeah, we're going to force you to talk, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, I was born and raised in the Tri-County area. So
Yes.
Springdale, a little bit of Evendale, and I never left.
Gang banging at Dairy Queen, man.
Oh man, Hartwell,
Hartwell.
up to G-Dale, Dairy Queen's in between. You know what I
I
mean?
don't think Hartwell ever been shouted out like that.
Hey, Vine and Galbraith, man. Right there.
Vine and Galbraith.
What's up? That blue house, the
There's
daycare.
nothing happening at Vine and Galbraith. There's a park and a UDF now.
Yeah.
That's
It
it.
was car lots.
Yeah, it
there.
used to be a car lot there.
And a
but not
Lee's
anymore.
with the line way down the street, blocking traffic, man.
Yeah.
How disrespectful.
Damn.
So when y'all growing up, where y'all getting the bug from? You say you got off the radio. Who was your musical influence? What's playing in the house? What's playing in the crib?
Oh man, I'm the baby of 5 kids. My dad was a super hard-working businessman, but when I'd ride in his car, I heard every kind of music ever, and then I would hear all my brothers and sisters' music, and my mom's, just riding around, going to the dentist's office, and really, I was the only kid in my family that didn't take piano lessons because I was like the end of it, and they didn't even ask me if I wanted to, and it was like when I saw like the Herbie Hancock thing with the video for Rocket and then scratching, and then by the time it came around where like my brother was not letting me touch his guitar at all, and then it was just like the thing to do was to do like DJ scratch stuff, and then it was kind of like entering into this thing that I've had all this knowledge of already, but then you dive into like the discography of sampling and stuff like that, and just like my mind is like a big sponge for stuff too, like movies. Like I'm probably the only kid that watched all the. My dad would get these bootleg movies and would watch them out of order, so it would have like Indiana Jones, and then like Dress to Kill, and then like Flash Gordon. So some movies I saw kind of early, but just music was just a constant thing, and really I could talk in samples all day if I had it my way.
Movie quotables.
Yeah, so.
There's one sample I want to ask y'all about that's on National Geographic.
Yeah, okay.
It said like, I made sure I saved it. I'm going to ask you about it here in a minute, man, because it was out of control, man.
No.
It was out of control, man. What about you?
Well, my musical bug came from, I've been playing drums, scratching, and kind of producing. I started all that simultaneously, probably like 90.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. So a good 30 years at this point. But there was no musicians in my family or anything. I didn't take, I wanted to play saxophone in 5th grade, but when my folks saw how much the rental for the sax was, it was like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
But my dad was always, my dad went to Woodstock and the Newport Jazz Festivals and, was a big music aficionado up east. So he was a big music appreciator, like a collector, and his record collection was pretty badass. Yeah. And my dad listened to tons of cool ass. Yeah. So we had, everything from The Clash to Stevie Wonder in his stacks. So I inherited, and as you did too, Pops' record collection to some extent.
Well, like phases of it. Like, I was you can touch them, but don't do what you do with them. But,
Yeah. Well, that was later when he came home and was like,
The
"What?
scratching of it.
What are you doing with the vinyl now?"
Right,
But my dad took, the music bug I got. Honestly, I saw Stevie Wonder. My dad took me down to the old Coliseum to see Stevie Wonder play.
Really?
And we were like the only white family. I was like 7 years old, and that show f***ed me up.
I bet.
Stevie.
F***ed me up. And then, that at that point, we were doing a lot of roller skating and stuff. So I was already kind of in that, exposed to that kind of scene. And it was, for me, it was like, I started playing drums, really. That was my first passion.
You couldn't get a saxophone, but they let you play drums. Drums way more expensive.
Are they?
Yeah, well, you didn't. No, you didn't need drums. You didn't need a saxophone. You needed a saxophone. You could just get 2 sticks and they put you in one chair and flip the other chair around. You just play on the seat.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
All snare.
Yeah, just learn strokes.
Yeah. Okay.
But honestly, I had 1 half-hour lesson of playing drums. And other than that, that was it. Like I quickly, I still play to this day, but no formal training in music at all. I spent all of my education, if you will, on engineering, technology, mixing and mastering and shit like that.
What song changed your life at that Stevie Wonder concert? What was the one where you was like, oh my God?
It wasn't so much any specific song at Stevie. If I had to go to a specific song that really got me into music, it would have been Benny and the Jets. I had a 45 of that.
Benny and
I used to kill that shit. My mom said I used to like that song, and you murdered
the
that.
acetated that.
And I used to rock that 45 to death. And it was something about the flange and phase in that whole, and the jankness of the whole thing was just sounded like totally like, nothing like I'd ever heard. Better. So that was one of the first like musical things that I was like, yo, it sounds like space music or something.
But damn.
Yeah, my parents had box tops and Mama and Papa's records. They had absolutely zero influence on my interest in hip-hop at an early age. But I had 2 older sisters, and so they were more into the cutting-edge pop trends, being a few years older. So I was exposed at a very early age, like Prince and The Time, and just the electro drums, all that electro music, like he was saying at the roller skating rink. Just
Simmons kid, shout out to Simmons drum sounds.
Beat. And as simple-minded as it might sound, it's just that 4/4, that beat was just the aesthetic of the music is what grabbed me. I had no idea what they were saying, no idea what they were talking about, but it was just the cadence and the movements and the progression and just really the drum beat that was so contagious and hypnotic. And I was like, I want more of this. It was really, it sounds cliche, but it was a lot of people were still pulling cardboard out in the driveways and bringing tapes. I had a couple neighbors that had relatives up in Cleveland and Chicago, and like Tobe, they would bring home music and take cassettes of shows,
radio shows from
local
Chicago.
Shows from there, and they would play it in the driveway. Like, wow. So I was captivated, and like any other person in our cohort, of course, like Grammys, Herbie Hancock, Rocket was just
as soon as DST, right?
It's just the steel industrial aesthetic of the turntable, just the way it looks.
It's centered, the center focal thing about it too.
And it makes it sound that
look like it could have been right there.
I do like the skeleton.
Sulu could have been sitting at that thing.
The pterodactyl in the skeletons too. So, I mean,
it was otherworldly. It was just something that was so new, and I was captivated at a very early age. Like my first tape was Billy Joel and Innocent Man, because I liked the harmony on The Longest Time. I liked the progression of just the doo-wop, and that captivated me. And I realized like it was rhythmatically and the progression of the kind of like the doo-wop, and that of course predates Billy Joel.
Right. Sends you back to. Right, Muddy Waters and
blues and everything like that. But
what song turned you out to hip hop? What song did you hear?
The earliest one? Oh man, it would probably like Rocket was the earliest example I could think of. I was almost 8 years old.
And who made that for everybody who was born in 2000?
Herbie Hancock.
Yeah.
Herbie Hancock.
A
jazz
artist.
Legend.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely.
Just the man.
Marquee person in American music.
I mean, if it's a hip hop thing, like, I mean, I don't know if it's so much a song. Because I remember, there's times I remember where I first heard the song, but I don't even know what order. Like, I remember when I heard the show, I was like, oh, and and I remember I remember when I heard Easy Does It, when my brother asked my other brother for a ride to the store, and he comes out with this tape, sitting in the back, just like, doo, 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 and then he throws in the Easy Does It, man, and like the first thing is like the nobody move, nobody get hurt, and it was just like hearing all the cursing and like it was like such good storytelling, and then like by the time I knew it, man, I was on the bus with my Walkman and all these just getting kids hip, like check this out, and then it would be like 2 Live Crew or anything that would just like be, they're like, whoa. We're not gonna sit next to you anymore. But
right,
whatever.
For all y'all who don't know what a Walkman is, too, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy that you gotta clarify. A Walkman was a small rectangle that you could put a tape in, and it also had an AM, FM radio.
Yeah.
Portable cassette player.
Hey,
They like, what is a cassette? Did you stream on that? Could you stream on it?
I mean,
You can stream them. You take it apart. You can stream the rolls. And
Definitely.
Shit.
or you could
Get you a pencil and wind it back
yeah,
up.
exactly.
I used to hybrid those ones
Hey.
back. Well, we used to custom case.
I
all
still
the time.
got I
Really?
still got a lot of those.
You made custom cases for tapes.
Yeah.
he was
Well, yeah,
hard
because
to
I'm a
paint,
like
paint marker the shit
yeah,
out of them.
I'm like
Uh-huh.
So thick you could barely put it back into
pretty
place.
much. Well, you got to know what it
Cut
is.
and paste
Yeah.
Photoshop.
Yep,
That's
yeah, do whatever you
hard.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, like, and then if you had somebody you were lucky enough to get a dub or of something, like, you gotta, or if you really like it, or if it's original music. I mean, I have so much nervous energy that I'm always doing something, and that was just like something I always did was draw. And then if it was like, well, if we're gonna do this, then might as well paint it and make it.
We used to fix. I mean, fix them too. Like
Yeah.
you had that one cassette that
Yeah.
was badass, and all of a sudden it got chewed up because you put it in your homie's car, and his
Yeah.
deck is fucking
Yeah.
jacked.
Yeah.
So the thing, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
shit! You
Oh,
pull it
yeah.
out, and you're
You
like,
have to get
well,
it together.
I'm gonna lose the one song,
Right, but
if I take
Best
it apart,
part.
I can
Yeah.
put the rest of the record, tape it back together.
I mean that's like
With tape.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It was like cutting tape in the studio.
Yeah, it's like,
Exactly.
like
I
yeah.
never tried that.
exactly. Just,
Oh, man.
exactly. That's my first loops. I didn't have a sampler.
Yeah,
my
that's
first
right.
Loops were a reel-to-reel machine.
Yeah, a little
and I
reel,
should
yeah.
say shout out to breakdancing because that's my homies would be mad at me if I left
Yeah.
that out because that was definitely a big thing. I was breakdancing before.
You was breaking?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, let's see something.
Come on,
Toby.
Come on, Toby, you called it out. Get
40. I'm 47 years
I can
old.
do like those power up rock moves, man.
No, I mean
like the
you
thing
know.
where I lay on the ground.
Well, I'll
and
tell
do
you
a
this.
time-
I mean,
what time is
you
it?
weren't doing shit if you couldn't dance in 86, 87.
You had to break.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you didn't have,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't have the,
I don't know.
the Harry Carey or the Suicide
would-
ducktail, the hats. Remember the long hats, the
Oh yeah, with the like,
kamikaze long
jam
hats?
things. Yeah,
yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, like
yeah.
they're like got the bill is kind of rounded, and then it's got the thing that backs
Extra
off to
long,
the
yeah,
extra
the-
red, like
yeah,
redneck,
yeah.
like cover.
With the rising sun on
Yeah,
it.
Rising
like
Sun.
a painter's
Yeah, yeah.
cap with rising sun
Like
with this
Christian
long
Okoye or
ass
something.
I know what you're talking about.
mullet tail.
Yeah, and also
shit.
like skateboarding. It's like Toby was saying, like I was always around some skateboarders, and like
Yeah.
that was kind of like would bring a lot
first
of
generation BMX skating, all that shit.
any kind of thing that was not necessarily traditional, like scholastic, sports and stuff. And I played sports, but I always remember having the best time being like somewhere where skateboarding or like breaking. I couldn't roller skate. I would sit at the Karate Champ machine by the food court, and I get invited to your birthday party or whatever, and I'll play you I'll Karate Champ you, man. And I could roller skate without skate stuff. So.
It's like the culture of
That's
mixed
very
arts.
interesting.
Culture of mixed arts.
Hey,
Like Gumby, man. Gumby moves like put this one.
I think I'm gonna start breaking. I think I'm gonna bring it back.
I mean, if I broke, I'd be broke.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I think the last time I did would have been at a Top Cat show.
yeah, like
Because we used to have massive, other B-boys used to come up for us at Top Cats
Yeah.
on regular.
yeah, that was nice.
And some of those kids remembered that, yeah, he used to break dance, and I tried.
How did y'all meet?
Kind of. Well, it's kind of a weird.
Yeah, I
like-
guess kind of around,
You met my brother first, and then
Yeah.
then that's how we met. But
so I was already playing drums, and one of my older buddies was like a electronics nerd, and I wanted, it wasn't like you could go out and buy DJ equipment. You couldn't ask somebody what to get,
Yeah.
what things worked well for scratching records. So my dude was into electronics, and he helped me just literally make something. And we took a light switch.
Yeah, dude, I remember that. This is best.
And it was like a homemade transformer switch that was
Yeah.
built into this old Sansui stereo. Then I put a tape deck on top to
Yeah.
keep the whole thing
it
from
was like
moving.
it was like mounted in there too. Like
Yeah, well,
screwed
it was,
into
yeah,
the
yeah,
hole.
into
it was
like this wooden shelving system
Awesome.
I built. So I basically made my own scratch thing with my homie when I was young. I didn't have any gear.
And the
Everything
switch was the crossfader.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Absolutely. And
Yeah, he went.
I was playing in bands at the time, but I would have, cats would come over and we'd chill after school, and people were kind of like, "Yo, Tobe's house, not like he smoked weed out of the bong after school, and nobody gives a but he's also got this crazy stereo system. You never believed a stereo system. People, I was like, what is he doing? I'm in there, and I didn't have a sampler. I had a reel-to-reel machine.
Yeah.
And I would take the loops and record audio onto the tape, cut a piece out, and tape it together. And the loops that I would make would be around the light post, around the bed post. They could be 10, 12 feet long as hell.
It's called the homemade hump, man.
Really?
Well, that was one of the tapes.
So I started making these, early what other people were doing, pause tapes. And I was, really experimenting with broken hand-me-down equipment.
Yeah.
And that attracted some weirdos, basically.
Well, yeah.
So when I got kicked out of school from Walnut Hills in 8th grade, and my mom kicked me out too, so I went to go live with my dad in Woodlawn, and Zone 15 bus rides, and met Noah's next older brother.
Yeah.
And he was a guitarist, and we had some similar friends because I grew up in Clifton, and he went to school with some other kids that I played soccer with and shit. So we had people, friends in common. So we kind of graduated, and neither one of us felt really at home in the burbs necessarily. So he and I kind of became cool pretty quick. And then Noah was
I was younger than
brother.
him, and he basically, I think either he traded in his guitar or something.
Yeah, he traded a guitar to get some turntables.
Mixer. Yeah, they had some turntables.
He's like, I got turntables at home. And I was like, oh, do you?
Yeah.
So I came over let me see what you got.
Yeah, and there's me. So and then
it's like
since I'm the baby of my family, I'm 4
years.
So then basically I was the baby of my family. So any chance I got to get out of my house, I just gravitated to Toby because he's a weirdo like myself. And then we started our first kind of studio with the 4-track.
That's where I met Dan too.
Yeah.
Was that Princeton?
Well, you might have met, but I want to say I met Dan before. Or was it?
And Dan would show up and come to the little parties after school in my basement, wouldn't say shit, sit quiet in the corner, and then disappeared for a year.
It's very consistent.
And then came back.
No. I can tell you when he came back.
For like a year, and he came back just murdering shit. And I was like, what?
I would have golf and bowling
he sat
class.
Quiet, didn't touch the turntables.
Bowling for Columbine class, and then I would see Dan, and Dan had just come back from, was it Ohio State?
Yeah. I mean, on just a fully transparent kind of introspective moment.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot with anxiety and antisocial stuff, and I had the music saved my life basically. So I had turntables that one summer in high school I had saved up enough money cutting grass for a couple of years. And I didn't know what I was doing. There's no research on the internet you could do. There's nothing you could Google. No. So I just went down. There's a local music store in Evendale. Don't recall the name, but they had a pair of Gemini turntables, some belt drives, and 18-inch rack mount mixer with 4 channels, big old crossfader. As the biggest one must be the best one. Give me that one.
Mixer like this.
It was terrible. It was terrible. But
what made it terrible?
The crossfader. I mean, it was just
peanut butter.
Across the street.
Crossing the street. I like that. That's awesome.
And so, but that's there wasn't tutorials, so that's kind of how you developed your own style and your own skill by navigating around those tools, because not everybody had the same tools in their toolbox necessarily.
Right.
So you had to listen to records, and you didn't have the image necessarily, so you had to emulate that through your auditory senses. What is he doing?
Yeah.
Let me try this.
Right. You didn't. You couldn't even see which hand was he doing it. What is this? I mean,
even if you could watch it again.
So when Tope says I came back a year later, it's because I was watching him. It's how are you doing that? It sounded like this. I know it sounded like that. And so I did it and kind of freehand the way I learned. I taught myself how to do it, which was not correct in the form of Toby, but it was correct.
For Dan.
If it sounds good, it's right.
Right.
Well, yeah. Even if it sounds wrong, it sounds right.
That's a good point. I think we probably do overlook that is a strong suit. One thing that we did always do as a group is really respect each other's strengths, and that not everybody did everything as good as the other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I remember finding things that I'm like, man, that is so dope that I'm not messing with it. Hey, Dan, dope.
Hey,
check this out.
Why don't you rip this?
Yeah, check this out.
Yeah,
What's the first scratch y'all learned? Crab?
Oh, see, that's the thing is like there weren't really names for a lot of them. Like I remember.
I still don't know the names of most of the shit.
I'll just remember the one
I
that
do the majority of them, but I have no idea. If like you said, oh, you're so and so scratch, I'm like, which one is that?
That's for the consumer.
I don't know.
Well, I guess now it would be, but I mean back then it was like, how do you make something up that doesn't have a name? You can kind of give it.
There's two distinctively that were on record
Transformer.
at the time and had a name.
Transformer.
The chirp and the transformer.
Yeah.
And then once I learned that, the line switch, not the crossfader.
Yeah.
And it made that same crusty.
What's that mean? The line switch.
So there's a phono and line switch.
Yeah.
It's basically like a light switch.
Immediately cuts it all on and off.
So basically, it's like an on-off switch for your record line.
It's like an instant mute instead of a slow crossfade.
Yeah.
Even some crossfaders might not be so fast. Their contour can be really slow, so it can be hard to get that really fast,
crisp on-off sound.
Yeah.
And so you think of people like DJ Premier is famous for having the crackly, worn-out.
Oh
lines,
yeah,
you can hear the crackle.
But they're so awesome.
And the transform.
Yeah.
It's distinctively dirty, and that's what I wanted. And I discovered that sound like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So
like a Duick.
That nuance to give you that.
So that was like one of the first things I tried to emulate when I discovered that line switch on that 18-inch rack mount thing. And then I broke off every single one of those things. And there's no replacement. So once I got down to the last one, it was like, it's time for that.
Got to figure this crossfader out.
We had this one mixer that was same kind of similar thing, but the weird thing about it is the crossfader was one side or one channel, but on that it had two other options to place those channels as such. And we figured out if we put it in the middle on the 2-1, it could be like a double throw switch.
Two off positions and one on.
So it makes it sound twice as fast. And like the sound that we created, I mean, we just, I don't know why we called it but we called it the digital pigeon. And I don't know if that ever made it in the scratch fame, but I always thought
that'd be a hard shirt with a pigeon and 16-bit.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Ooh,
that's
hard.
hard.
Like a digital pigeon.
Touche. That would be.
But it was nothing digital about it though at all. It was just
it sound cool.
I will say that I think you brought a Scratch Pickles VHS.
No, it was DMC Best of the Best, dude.
Is that what it was?
You had that too or something? Or I remember that, but
this was like the first time we got to really see what people were doing.
Yeah.
In San Francisco.
Or it was, really throughout the world. But I mean, we all kind of like. There's different guys that.
But those were the two meccas.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like when I heard Qbert was the first person that I really heard use all four fingers in a crab scratch. Mm-hmm. And when I heard that, I was like.
But even just
I was like, ooh. I was like.
The Rocksteady DJ.
Because everything before was just like single click.
Yeah.
Transformer. How fast can you do it? Maybe if I was playing around, I'd do a 2-finger. Little nipple. You have the little twiddler. But nobody was doing the.
Let's get into this, man.
Yeah, so
how does a DJ make you a better lover? It's a lot of finger play. You spend a lot of time foreplaying your DJ equipment.
Well, it's just
I've always had good dexterity, so that's all I can say on that
You got the touch. You got the power. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to crab scratch that thing, man.
Well, and sometimes a little caress it, or you got to be tender, and then sometimes you got to be rough, or
I DJ, so I don't have to talk to anybody. So
that's a good point.
46 year of awkward social. So
Hey man,
it didn't help me at all.
I'm wondering when it's gonna work. I'm like, man, one day I'm gonna just be regular like everybody else. Everybody else seems like they so confident and regular and just the anxiety. How do you deal with it? Because I feel like I might have mishandled my rap career because of anxiety and awkwardness and avoidance of all of that stuff.
People didn't even talk about it. Like,
I was so awkward I didn't have an ego.
The compliment I always got was, "No way, you're weird," and it's a good kind of weird. And I'm like, "Okay,
that worked."
Like, I guess, but
it's interesting.
But coming inside of that is like that's how I got everything out of me too. It's like everything I couldn't say to you. It's like we can share this moment because this is what I can do, and this is what this was built up inside me. This is everything that's going on inside my mind. It was just, it was transcendent like that, for me at least. I don't know. There are different motivations for different people as to why they get into it, but for me, it was always that aspect of, I'm a handler.
Yeah.
I always had to be doing something.
Yeah,
with my
it's like
hands.
that. Sometimes that nervous energy kind of thing, and
Yeah.
I think by the time that I remember meeting Dan, I was still in school. We'd known each other, but he had came back, and I'd seen him at golf and bowling class. And shout out to the Golden Tee arcade, and then like it was kind of I knew Dan scratched, and me and Tobe were getting down, and then there was kind of this period where I met a couple other dudes. Shout out to Mike B, and then also our homie Casey that Toby knew. That was kind of like first we were 3, which was Casey, but then by the time, like I say, within a year, we'd like
grown from 2 people toying around to
5,
3 people to 4 to 5.
Yeah, and then
Matt Russo, who's also the other one from from Connecticut.
Yeah, and then we expanded to rap dudes, and
Y'all can keep talking.
yeah, next thing you know, it's it's the who wins the taking over the Greek Council, man.
But if it didn't happen in '98, it wouldn't have happened.
No, I don't think so.
Right.
Yeah.
If we were perfectly aligned to the cohort of, of that generation.
And it was
all
kind of
the resources, all the opportunity, all the,
it would be the kind of the state of whatever the kind of the world was in musically and in our individual lives, where it was something that our who we were before going into this thing is we kind of all very much found this home.
And this is in '94?
I would say, Animal Crackers, I'd say, what do you say, was like 97, 98 would be the formidable forming of it.
Yeah.
Because me and Tobe had, and Casey, we were still kind of doing early production, and you put in your rock band.
RPS first.
EPP.
Easy Props Productions.
Easy Props
we rocked
Productions,
that for a few years before we became actually the Animal Crackers.
And that was like a kind of a more of like in the studio stuff too, really. I guess four
man,
tracks.
I'll say it, man. We were like the token white badass DJs that were like all semi-cute, and everybody had their own little style. Like you got the little jock one, you got the artist one, you got the quiet one, you got the rock one, you got like the one who's got like tight ass cornrows and shit. Love you, Matt. But we had a real, and you could easily say like in a real stereotyping, categorizing kind of way that we had this array of characters in our group that were really identifiable, I think, for people.
It was very punk rock. Like none of us were formally trained in the art at all.
Right.
Yeah.
But we learned how to play our instruments on our own.
And then complemented each other within that thing because...
And a lot of stage time is where that craft came from.
Yeah.
We used to do the GPSPs. We go and just fucking crash parties.
Right.
Just show up 5 deep with turntables like, nah.
No, really? They'd have turntables at their party, and we'd be like, okay, well, that's really interesting. And no diss to this genre of music, but like a lot of stuff which was like, at the time, it would be like kind of rave, like music, or like house music where the music's great, but there's just not a lot going on with the DJ performing it. Yeah. So, this is like early scratch days. This would be like Friday night or something. I'm like, yo, let's go, man. Let's just go out and see what's going on.
And where were y'all going to these parties?
Like anywhere. It'd be like Clifton or Oxford. Yeah, like anywhere where actually, or somebody would be at a party and have us like come through, like, yo,
house parties.
Yeah, house parties just come through and like
frat parties,
flip out people because like
party.
We would just like get on the just hop on there and do some that they never saw.
General Principle Scratch.
Yeah, that's what we call it. General Principle Scratch. GPSP.
We just show up guerrilla style and just start ripping that apart.
Yeah. And
that's
then
hard. And I'm sure that built y'all name too.
Oh, totally. Yeah. And then we had like other, we had peers at the time, but then soon we're all friends and just kind of built the community thing. And shout out to our dude, Mr. Dibbs, brother, Mr. Dibbs, and other homies around the way, the hobos, John Doe, and then just people that were in the same phases of that kind of stuff as we were. And, and Toe was right. It was kind of a thing where at the time, like, I was consumed by hip-hop music very early. Mm-hmm. Like every, like I was saying, I'd be on the phone to everybody's like, "Do you have this record in yet? I'll be
before he had his license.
Well,
I remember having to drive him to go to.
Like, I have to get this tape, man.
Got to go to everybody's because such and such is coming out this night.
And it's not gonna. I mean, and really, it's just I felt that way about like things like comic books and hip hop, man, and records, and that's it. Like that's all there is.
It used to be a whole thing where you be waiting for something to drop.
Yeah.
Like,
oh man.
You know it's coming.
Well, I mean,
the rollout might be 6 months.
Yeah, but you know,
you waiting.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, really, I can tell you when I got the Woo album, 36 Chambers, I got the day it came out with my Camelot punch card.
Yeah, right.
Pow, and I was like, score one for me because I saved up my points and
that first cassette that I saved up for and went on that day was Take the Nation to Millions.
Oh,
I brought that shit home, put that cassette in, and me and Dan Horn listened to that.
All the production on that, all the scratching.
My rock band, like 2 rock dudes, were like, yeah, we can't wait for this record to come out. And we went and got that, and I was blown away.
Man, y'all got hard albums that y'all first, man. The first rap song that initiated me was It Takes Two.
Oh,
I remember sitting on the toilet as a kid listening to It Takes Two. He was like the Mims of that day. It's like, man, this is so terrible, but it's hard.
It's not really.
The Lynn Collins sample is legendary.
Yeah, that means and
that was the best part.
I like the one line because we're internationally known. Cause I get stupid.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm knowing about the microphone. See,
and the video's like hard, and it's like it was so weird because it wasn't really that identifiable back then because I kind of mashed it all in for the most part. I mean, the NC-17 sticker is another thing, but that was just. But I never really thought of it like, unless I had to, like. But they were all kind of intermixed. But then I did notice, like, especially stuff with cars. Whenever there's a car with a system in it, and the beats are awesome, but it's not really anything prolific going on. Maybe some good scratching or something. Is like Miami bass music is awesome, but it's not like getting in my head like
Magic Mike.
Yeah, or like thinking about stuff like Public Enemy, and then even like stuff that makes you laugh, dude. Like the Biz, man. Like that stuff is great.
Rest in peace, the Biz Marquee, man.
And even where you have somebody that's a unique individual that even knows their strengths and but it's just totally crushing it when he performs, or just his whole personality is so big that it's awesome. And then like just anything that was like a cool outlier of that, and it's like I got a lot of my education from stuff, and even social cues from stuff at the time, like for instance, like the OG, like pro black, like Public Enemy, X-Clan, Paris, like all that stuff was like, it was really educational, man. Like I was just a kid, like, oh, okay, well, I'll go to social studies class and I learn this, but then I'm learning all these social things that are very real, and I'm relating those to my life, whether I know it or not. But I know it definitely had an impact on the person I became, and basically, once you find out that hip hop is every kind of music, then you're really onto something, because that's how we relate.
And it took those kind of cheeseball crossover songs to legitimize the genre
and even to bring it back, man.
Commercial mechanism too.
And it opened doors to the genre to people who might not have otherwise been exposed or open to it. So I mean,
it took MTV almost 10 years to fucking play
for the box.
And that was in the days when VH1 pledged they would never play rap.
Right.
Never do it. Q102 said the same thing on the radio.
Never.
Put on Q102 today.
Right. It's a rap star.
Or like VH1 is just straight like Housewives of Atlanta or whatever, like, or of like semi rap stars or whatever. I don't know.
Y'all talk about building y'all buzz and how wrecking parties increase y'all name. We gotta talk about what happened the day where y'all was like, we gonna be the Animal Crackers. Describe how that came about.
Okay, so I'll take this one. So Toby's mom doesn't live too far from here, and she lives in Northside on a street called Street, which is.
You just put your mom all the way out there.
No,
Man.
my bad. Hey, if you go see her, you better be nice. I'm coming for you.
You'll know.
Or, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully she ain't got no beef in the streets. They
So,
know
but
Around and
at
find
the
out.
time,
That's what she said.
you know, I must have like just pretty much I would be at Tobe's mom's house at the time, and it was like, you know, we were smoking weed a lot, and I had dreads, just kind of forming, and then we'd watch a lot of kung fu movies, and
She let us take over the whole basement, basically.
Yeah,
We had,
yeah.
you know,
but I just remember
maybe 1,000 records at the time.
yeah, and then
or
I was
something.
going to this place called Lee's Variety Shop up in Clifton. And I would get these, you know, the whatever Shaw Brothers they had, Kung Fu movies with the big, stupid plastic cases. And I would just trip on, like, you know, just the different katas and, you know, I like cartoons and stuff too. And, like, and then I like the Muppets. And then basically it was like, we'd get real stoned and we'd go to UDF and end up getting lots of baked treats and
Well, I had
cookies and...
when I was playing a lot of drums, I had really long ass hair.
Yeah, he did.
And
So,
when I played, that would rock around real crazy. And I had a bunch of friends. Some chicks used to call
like
me Animal.
Yeah, and it's kind of
Okay.
weird though, because I think the amalgamation of Animal would be like me, because I am like a ginger red haired dude with, at the time, where it's like I look like that, and Toe plays drums, but then I like kung fu and all this kind of the goofiness of cartoons, and then basically we're just like, well, dude, let's you know kind of celebrate who we are too as
being the token
white dudes,
hip hop kids in the city.
And, you know, like,
hip hop was
just-
new. It was already new at the time.
Yeah.
And everybody say, "Oh, the hip hop group, the white kids, the
Yeah.
white dudes,
the white dudes,
DJ."
yeah, the dude with the glasses and the one,
Yeah,
one guy.
you know, the guy with no tattoos doesn't look like he should know shit about music, but murdering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
Like-
him? No, the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, that dude.
And then it would,
we need a name, man.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So it was kind of that. It was
UDF,
like, let's just call
the
it
fucking, you know,
Yeah.
cookie snacks, the animal crackers.
yeah, animal
cookies,
crackers, and then just
you know,
being like
animal
white dudes and like
crackers.
animal.
And the whole.
Because it was like that, man, and I don't think it would happen at any other time. But anybody that was really kind of gets it in a way where it's like not even about that. It is like not about.
It's
that.
a reference to everybody's childhood.
Yeah.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Because everybody grew up eating animal crackers.
Right.
Up in the little box. with
I mean,
little-
you just put them in the car. Mom just chuck the box at you. You know, shut the up, grub.
Yeah, I mean,
carbs.
and even
One of the things that I've always loved about hip hop that it caught a bunch of slack for, especially early, was the sampling. For me, sampling isn't like it's building on other arts. It's using other art to further the layers of communication. So if I take one sample from E.T. or the Gremlins, and it's a small vocal sample, but you've seen that movie, I can say more by using that sample
that will relate to you
with
than
just
you know.
that sample about our shared history and culture of music and
Yeah.
cookies
and it's relative.
and cookies.
Well, yeah.
And I can do that in a really short amount of time, but I can connect an entire lifetime of someone's experience
like,
by
yeah.
citing that little phrase
And hip-hop
or
seemed to-
sampling that piece of music or taking that little thing from that movie that you wanted to ask.
Hip hop would always take something that you would in other spaces
Right.
are derogatory terms and like celebrate it in a really weird way. Like, and it would be like anything from like, you know, I get stupid, retarded, and crazy, insane. Like, and then like that's like a good thing. You know, it's not necessarily bad. And I like the fact that it was always about finding a way to freak something because it's all you had to work with, and that like being identifiable and like compelling or interesting or provocative.
What's the movie you talking about?
It's like the culture collage is what
Yeah.
it is for me. It's like, you know.
What movie?
Oh no, what sample you were asking about?
Oh, National
yeah,
Geo.
it was on.
And all I'm saying is I'm pretty sure it's from a movie because that's usually where we get.
Yeah.
It sounded like James Brown to me for a second, but it was just saying something like it was about sexual. It was like
Take out that. That might be Mr. Rudy Ray Moore, I believe.
National Geographic. It was on National
Yeah,
Geographic.
I think that's the old Mike. Who I actually
Okay.
I actually interviewed him when I was 16. I wanted to work for this magazine, and he
That's right.
played at.
That's crazy.
He played at this place called the Apple in between Woodlawn and
I used to
Glendale.
do those little.
Well, that's how I
interviews.
kind of got on, and I was like, I lied because I was like, I said I worked for this magazine that was going to use it for, and I went and I met him, and I was like, because I'd watched all those movies, like all my things, and I'm like, this dude is going to be, you know, off the chain, like, and I met him, and he was like the nicest. He did not even curse one time in front of me, and I was so jazzed off of like meeting him, and he gave me these signed glossies, and I met him in Forest Park Lee Suites, and it was awesome, and like because I had to find out where this came from. And I'd also kind of heard that in some other, like in all the 2 Live stuff. So I was like, I met the dude that met that made the records that, the other dude scratched.
Right.
And that's just like, it's like the world to me. Lots of things that don't mean a lot to other people mean a whole bunch to me. Yeah, you know what I mean? And that's how it is kind of relatable and all that stuff. So, anything, D? I'm trying to think what our...
No, I concur.
I concur. Yeah.
I like that, man. I like it, man. Let's see what I wanted to get into next, man. We talked about let's talk about Tone Center Records and Manimal Records.
Okay. Well,
Manimal is what we decided. We had some opportunities
yeah,
to do some press and distribute deals and some other early signings and stuff in the late 90s.
We were talking about that the other night.
But I think quickly we all kind of just decided we were really capable of fucking ourselves. Like we don't need to pay somebody else 30%
Right.
to get a shitty deal and spend money making records instead of selling them.
Yeah.
So we just did that. So we basically self-produced.
And it was kind of the era of like the independent thing anyway, and we weren't. I don't know. I don't think we were necessarily.
Yeah, this is
gunning
just
for the
before the
charts.
digital era.
Yeah. I mean,
So it was a lot of talk about independence back then too.
well, I mean, just like from not so much
for
the
distribution side of stuff. is
yeah, and
definitely
also
key.
like being on a big label.
'Cause you
know,
can
like
make a record, but to get it put up in stores still took.
yeah,
legwork and
it'd be like
connections.
where the early days of like
And you
I remember,
send-
like, I have, like, the first Fun Crusher, and shout out to my girl, Millie, who worked at Everybody's, because she was, like, a big proponent of making sure that the guys that would come in there knew about these, smaller records that were, like, not on big labels, like, like Stretch and Bob stuff and just independent stuff of that sort. So the approaches we did have, we didn't go for, but... Actually, me and Toby were talking about this the other night. The one I was like, man, we should have did that because they folded not soon after, but they would have like pressed our records and we would have probably got them by default or something.
Yeah, right. Would have never had to owe them anybody back.
Right.
So the label y'all got signed to, where were they out of?
Oh no, they wanted to sign us. And that
one was
San Francisco. Yeah, it's like a subsidiary of like it's like Dog Day or some bigger label for like indie or for like rock. That had this little...
And then we just stopped kind of even entertaining that. We were like, we're just going to do it ourselves. We knew what we wanted to make. We knew the people to do the artwork.
Yeah.
We found the people to do the production,
Who did this artwork?
This is the...
Devious did that.
Devious.
Chris Glebe.
Yeah, Chris Glebe, amazing artist and friend.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah, and it's like really strange because we do have all these like connections and people that are just way super talented, just blessed us by like
Different
being a part of it. Yeah, you know what I
and
mean? So having those relationships.
And
Yeah, so...
The more you work, the more you find other people who you got some type of commonality, but they do their own creative thing.
And that's how we got successful selling vinyl. I mean, we take them on tour with us and stuff.
Yeah.
But Casey and Phil worked pretty hard. We had when it was feasible, we used to sell and ship.
Yeah,
vinyl
a lot
to
of stuff.
Japan
A lot of
and
stuff.
Europe and stuff.
It would be, I always got a weird sense of things because I always thought that it was strange that I never thought we had as many, like word of mouth stuff I always thought was working really good. And it was just the people that would come and see us, like, they would always remember us, or when they would come into town and perform, we were holding the torch for it too, and would link up with them and kind of, because I would know who they were, or one of these guys would.
The Top Cats heyday.
Yeah, Top Cats like heyday, and we, or if there was something like they can't skip Cincinnati because we kind of made this little mecca with Scribble Jam at the end in the summer, and then Top Cats, throughout the year, where it was like, I know I was definitely not trying to have anything I wanted to see not come through. So, but then they would like kind of retain us and like shout us out, or we'd still have those relationships, even though, we weren't like in every record store or something, or early days of the internet too, which was I always thought was weird. We kind of like
a lot of putting in stores on consignment.
Yeah, and then like it's just kind of that whole thing where it was like I never envisioned like uploading my own music to the internet, or that's where it would solely live. I mean, until this day, I still think like it only exists if it's on vinyl. Like, I mean, not really, but I do. Though for me personally, that's where I'm like, okay, well, that's.
I feel like all that stuff is coming back. I feel like if you got VHS or like a VHS player or a DAC machine or anything, like all that stuff is like, it's like hip hop memorabilia at this point.
Don't tell me that because I have a bunch of that.
Like,
I don't know where to put it.
Well, there's years and years of catalog art that were created on those formats.
Yeah.
You know, and some of it's been digitized. Majority of it hasn't. The small town, you know, bubbling local scene.
But you don't really want it digitized if you want it for that like memorabilia type feel.
Yeah.
I want talk about Scribble Jam.
Okay, Scribble Jam.
Hip Hop Arts and Culture Festival based in
Cincinnati,
Ohio.
in 96, 97.
So that's what it started out as, the art.
No, I mean it was really, and we weren't
a magazine.
Yeah, the Scribble magazine was like a graffiti magazine that the homie Nick Curso and Jason Brunson and some other guys did. And actually, we weren't on the founding year, and we were like second line. We were just hanging out. And that would also was Mr. Dibbs, and basically they just kind of had a graffiti paint day meetup with some turntables and some battle, and basically that was the first year. And the guy that won was a dude from out our way, Forest Park, was a dude named Malachi, aka Reagan. And he was Dibbs' greatest. Yeah, he was really good friends with Dibbs, and all I know is it just got bigger. And that next year was, the year what everybody talks about with Rhyme Fest and Eminem and Juice and Dose One. Another shout out to Dose.
Battles,
so it got really. The second year's like famous one.
You was there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Like,
are y'all there for the Eminem Rhyme?
Yeah. Well, actually, if you look, you can see me in the background of him. His like
I think
audition.
you showed me that before.
Yeah, and then the other thing was
we kicked it with him.
We kicked it with Eminem. I still have the two.
But he wasn't Eminem at that time, really.
No, he was Eminem. Like, he was Eminem.
He was known to the world as
the record. The record he gave us.
I have two records that say Eminem, and it's even.
And we remembered because we brought him home and listened to him. Like, he gave us doubles. That's fine. We listened to the shit and the verses that he just won.
No. That wasn't that one. That was the Ruckus one. That was the first Ruckus record that I got from this 5-Star General.
That wasn't the one.
Where he had used the. I mean, it's cool.
Everybody does it. Everybody does it.
But
at that time, though, was
when he heard it, it was like, whoa. No, because he was. I liked.
Still murdered it.
He was like a dude that wasn't like back then. You were either like a Beastie Boy dude or Vanilla Ice. That was it. And he came like a dude that I went to Princeton with. That was like,
him and his boy hopped in a hatchback Honda. And
no, it wasn't a Honda. It was a Ford Probe, dude.
Probe.
Because we kicked it with him for a minute, just like, and he wasn't very talkative. I think he was kind of mad. But but his manager or whatever at the time, like, he kicked it and we were drinking deuces of Heineken in the parking lot. And then what's really weird is I think I went to the first time he played here when that one the one record that was really big, and it was at Bogart's, and I went and it was crazy.
My name is.
Yeah, that record, the one, whatever that was, the Some Shady LP, like when he started getting big.
Hold up. So when y'all met Eminem and Scribble Jam, he was like standoffish. Y'all didn't really get.
I mean, it was after that. It was either in between the finals or it was
like
afterwards.
The end of the first night or something.
Yeah, or I just remember that his manager was really cool and he was cool, but he was just like kind of quiet.
Yeah, they had a trunk full of demo records.
Yeah, and then what's really weird is.
Me and Fest became friends after that too. Actually,
the other guy who'd kind of be more reliable.
Fest be getting slept on, man.
Yeah,
that's my homie, man.
They got barred. You still talk to him today?
It's been a little while, man. Actually,
Solomon went up and talked to him. But I think he's
more on his politician type vibe.
Yeah, I met him when I did those couple songs with Kanye. Yeah,
and then he basically was. But I thought like his nature and was like kind of more of a funner. He was a funner dude.
We got Fest on a song.
Yeah, we did some shit with him.
He did a joint with us.
So
we haven't put out yet.
You mixed the song with who did you just say?
So
I ran into Rhyme Fest again the next time after Scribble Jam. This is years later when I was doing for Zarnock.
Yeah.
Zarnock.
We should clarify.
We gotta get Zarnock on here.
I think somebody was talking about they're about to get some shows together. If I heard correctly.
Yeah.
Pimp tight, man.
Pimp tight. You should tell them that basically, we both went to school for audio, recording, engineering, and basically tried to have some kind of job in that array of things this whole time while this is going down.
Yeah.
So Tobe was mixing and mastering tons of people's stuff locally, and that expands. I went to work. Well, actually, he worked for him first, but I ended up working for High Tech
for a couple of years.
and then we did Top Cut. So there'd be like, well, tonight we're the Animal Crackers, and tonight Noah is Noah, and Toby's doing this, but he's mixing, like, so he's not Casualty, but it's all kind of the same grouping of people, but what you're there to do is always kind of different, because, I mean, you gotta
Toby is the man, man. If you need some mastered,
I take good work and try to make it better.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do the same with work.
And, so, I mean...
That's the real stars a lot of times, especially in today's hip-hop. It's the producer. I feel like the producer is like the grandma, the big mama. Like, she gonna fix your clothes and make you look good, even though you trash on the man.
Wipe spit on your brow and get you straightened
get
out.
you together, man. That's the producer. Like, he gonna take your trash vocals or whatever, and we're gonna make this a little tolerable.
Tolerable.
I never wanted to be an engineer or mix other people's shit. It was never my goal. I ended up doing it because I got tired of being frustrated trying to explain myself to other engineers and what I wanted and sonically, and I thought, rather than me, in the time it's going to take me to explain my idea to somebody, I could just learn this shit.
Right.
Yeah. So
I just started doing that.
How did you get nice? Did you mess up a lot of records first?
Oh yeah. Tons of them.
Which ones you mess up, man? Come on.
Oh, I don't know, man.
Come on.
I'm not gonna say anybody's name specifically.
Did you mess up the Kanye record? You just said something about a Kanye record.
No,
this is before he even had his accident and his jaw was wired shut. He was just making beats.
Yeah.
And I met him in Westchester. We're sitting in the back of the Denali blowing weed, and Carlos Richards, my buddy, the owner of the label. I forget the name of the label now.
Zarnox stuff.
No, whatever the label was.
Rich brother.
I don't remember. But he's sitting in the front, and he's like, yeah, Tobe works for Tech.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, you know Tech? I was like, yeah, I've been with him for a couple years. He's like, oh, Kweli. And I was like, okay, yeah. And then he's like, oh, check this out. And he puts in Gots to Get By.
Yeah.
And the joint wasn't even out yet.
Yeah.
And he puts that in. I'm in the back like, and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like, yo, you made this? He's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, shit.
Met him
And then I'm like, you're from here? He's like, nah, son, I'm from New York.
No,
which was bullshit.
Right.
Because he was from Chicago.
Right.
So then we go up to,
because
then, the fuck if I know. Then we go up to New York, right? Like, we're going to go to his spot. Yeah. And then we go to his apartment, which we find is in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Which I know everybody says you live in New York and you just live on the other side of the tunnel. Yeah. But.
Well.
And there was some other shit that was kind of
It's like he was ruining his credibility. So did you even think he was...
He's just being probably bigger than the world. I mean, he's trying to...
All the joints that he had produced up to that point...
Dude, the Zarnox song
were all
tight.
They were fucking awesome. They were all heaters.
So what song did Kanye do for Zarnox?
I will never tell ourselves drugs, pimp, women don't make no mistakes. I pimp and push weight. I will never tell us.
Yeah, that was one of them. And then
I don't think it was on
they had UGK on that record.
No, yeah, it had
a
Bun B on it. Bun B was on.
Sorry.
I don't know if it was on their release record though. Was it?
Man, Zarnox, man, y'all gotta come through, bro.
Y'all love those guys, dude.
Yeah. Hayes the Cat.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
And then I met him when I worked for Tony, and we went up to go see Common, and Kanye was on Kweli's show with him as like his hype dude / kind of getting his own things together.
Yeah.
And he was really nice and cool. Like, it was awesome. I thought it was kind of unique how this guy who started off like producing beats, but then he's seizing every opportunity that he gets, and so I mean, props to that.
Building on it, man.
He's
for sure.
He's about his shit.
And then the Rhyme
I don't have to agree with him. I don't have to,
I don't even know what
he don't make his art for me. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Really? You don't like Kanye's music?
I didn't say anything about it. I just said he doesn't make it for me.
Doesn't make it for you.
Yeah, and I respect that.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. You know what I mean? I know exactly what that is. It doesn't matter if I like his shit. Who gives a?
What you speaking about hip hop memorabilia?
Yeah.
I was thinking like that player that he got. That's kind of like new and innovative as far as like.
But it's kind of like it's unless it's really backed by some unbelievable format, it will kind of be a novelty thing. But it'll be a cool novelty thing if there's only someone.
If you got one that ain't been opened in 50 years or he passed
That is
away,
probably something.
it's gonna be worth something.
Yeah,
It'll probably be something. Right.
Well, I mean, does anybody? He's still alive, thank God. Anybody got their Flash former? Does Casey still have his?
Ooh,
Like there's the Flash former was
He
a
might.
Grandmaster Flash, like
Casey probably
double
does.
button, like
does.
accessory for DJing, so you could like.
Casey he's like me. He kept everything.
It was basically just like a cooler Grandmaster Flash.
It was one of the first
Flash former.
endorsed
Yeah,
product pieces. It definitely was the first endorsed product piece.
was it? I don't know.
I don't think
But then,
anybody else put
Because
their
that's really
name
what
on
the
anything.
music is made for. It's just a commercial for the technology. Like
in a way, yeah, you're right.
the music, we're selling compact discs. We're
Yeah.
selling tapes. We're selling DACs. You just put your stuff on it to make it more
Right.
palatable.
But then but at the same time, it's like, what are you going to sell other than your performance as an artist? You got to have records. You got to have a limited
You
edition.
gotta have that media.
Limited edition.
That's the part we missed.
Chewbacca skin sweatsuit.
That's the
with,
part we missed.
What you feel?
Bib.
I've always been good at like making, so like we've got no shit, probably 40 something songs of unreleased material that are heavy scratch and features of
people along the way that we have
some
had
good
relationships
caliber
with.
names
Yeah, like
and some collabs that we
real deal shit.
managed to secure either through legacy,
through favors,
favoritisms.
What's happening, man?
we're
NFT?
trying to work on it.
Oh wow, I never thought about that, but I
Trying
guess we
to
could
work
do that.
on it.
Single drops.
Well, what did you
as
say?
NFTs?
What did you say? The one
It's
one
gonna
time
be
thing.
2 full records. We're
Well,
pretty sure.
maybe a couple. I don't know. But
So
all
y'all
I know
gonna
is
do 2?
Toby said it to me the best. He's like, you know what, man? We've been through this for so long, and we've all put this work into these things. It's like if one thing that is like we have the freedom or the privilege to release our art, this art of ours, when we want to. So however we want to do that,
right? That's the empowering part.
I mean, that is kind of cool because, like, for the most part, our heyday was kind of gone, but our legacy is, yet to transpire. And it's actually not even just like released albums and stuff. Like, I consider it like doing all these different events that I've done over the years, or that we've been a part of, is very much like, to me, like, 'cause actually I recorded just about everything I've ever been at too, just as like a archivist kind of thing. And like, just those, anytime I was ever to impact somebody, on stage or in the crowd or like fellow young musician, that to me is very much Animal Cracker legacy thing, because that's just like passing the attitude and the knowledge and the kind of the open heart kind of thing where you're definitely doing it in the best way that you can. So but we do have a lot of music that I've been really there's so many times I'm like, did you just what's the person that just won't let it go, or like
a hoarder?
I'm not a hoarder.
A musical hoarder.
My friend said, you know what, Noah, you're not a hoarder because what you have, you made it and it's cool.
I was told I'm selfish.
Yeah,
That's what I was told. Dude said to me, Stevie Tree came.
Oh yeah, he
down,
did say that. I remember that. I was there.
I played him some stuff, and he's like, "This is awesome. When's it gonna come out?" I was like, it's finished. He's like, when does it come out? I was like, it's in my car. I listen to it whenever I want to. He was basically like, you, dude.
It's out for me.
Like, you. Well, like, I would like to hear that.
What's three features that people will be like, man, you got to release this? Because you said you got some heavy features.
Well, okay, so we definitely have collected a lot of people from Ohio that are awesome, because I was on this kick where I'm like, I got to get, any of our peers. I mean, we got like, the Rhyme Fest is a good one. We got I got some Woo on there. We got Capadonna.
That's a good one.
Got some Mike and I. Some freestyle West Coast homies.
Keith. Cool Keith is an interesting one on there.
Yeah, oh man. I'm a big Cool Keith guy. Who else?
What's the new ones you just...
they all mixed. All you would have to do is just put them on.
There's a couple things like, and then another thing is I don't want to be just one of these people
They're
that
more
is just...
finished than not, I tell you that.
like, it's got to...
Stuff ain't even mixed now. Sometimes you listen to a Migos record on the radio, you be like... The beat clean, but them vocals is sketch.
I like to I like to make it like so it's not just a one person kind of deal. I like to have multiple homies, especially core cracker dudes, be on each song too. So it's not just like well, why is it even on the Animal Cracker Radio?
Y'all just hosting some
Yeah.
hot.
Yeah,
Come on, man. It's so many ways and avenues now that you could not only release but monetize.
Yeah.
And then the lane for the legacy acts or older acts is wide open. The other day I worked the New Kids on the Block, In Vogue.
Oh yeah.
Rick Astley. Who else? Salt and Pepper Show.
Did you meet him?
Rick Astley is a monster.
He's awesome. Is he?
He the hardest person on the tour. No disrespect to nobody else, but Rick Astley is a monster.
Did he? He kind of always gave me this David Caruso feel, man, which is pretty cool.
Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you down. Hey man, he killed it.
I bet he does.
Y'all got a Rick Astley feature?
That's a good idea, man. You know what? If I was at that show working, I would probably get at him like, "Yo, what's up?"
Hey, I tried to holler. He was super cool, man.
I would get
probably,
and then anybody that I ever thought was interesting, I get a drop from. So I have the best one I have is Chuck D, where I got him saying, "Once again, back is the incredible Animal Cracker." So really? Make that into something.
Man, come on, bro.
You know what is funny?
Oh yeah, and then Tobe's got the coolest feather, the hat of that's just we getting all to work under and work for, with
the Star Child.
Yeah, man. And that to me is such a awesome thing, dude. Is the fact that Bootsy Collins does the sound of my voice. When I cut my hair off, he didn't know I was real, but then he heard me. He was like, "Oh, what's up? No,
hey, Baba."
And I'm like, yeah, "That's actually real."
Did he ever call you Baba?
I
know you've been called Baba millions of times.
I'm sure he does. Get his weird ass hand and shit.
He's the best, dude.
He shake your hand like that?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a real uppity.
No, it's from how you play slap bass.
He give you a bass slap.
Yeah, it gives your hand like that. That same gripper.
And then
it probably don't even come out of that position.
Man, so I let the secrets out.
Don't.
Yeah, it's he does it on purpose, but it's it's like atrophy hand.
It's just stuck.
Yeah.
You gotta eat a banana.
Eat some potassium, bro.
Let that go, man.
The big behemoth, I call him.
And what's weird is I remember me and Dan got to DJ open for Bernie Worrell, even before Tobe met him. And
Before
it was
I
just
played with him.
and it was like a checklist of super awesome, guys that I'm just like, oh my god, you want me to do what, sir? Okay.
I met Bootsy through
tech,
through the Animal Crackers.
No, he came.
Because we had won.
We opened for the Roots, dude.
It was one of the we had got.
Yeah.
We won a bunch of Best Hip Hop CEA awards, and eventually we told them to stop nominating us.
Why?
Yeah.
Because I was working with the rest of. I just felt like we were an easy pick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that
just run it up, bro. Let people get mad, man.
I was recording the other groups. I'm doing the other records. I'm doing Napoleon's record.
Yeah.
For Is What.
Shout out to Napoleon.
Yeah, for sure. Or Tay's solo record, or Scandal shit, or Superpower shit, or whatever.
Shout out to Scandal.
And I'm like,
man.
So I'm like, you guys need to dig a little deeper. And I told it because I knew these kids. This was all the rock scene that I grew up with, Sudsies and Short Fine shit that were working for City Beat, writing all those.
That's selfless of you, man.
Well, I don't know about that, but I tell you what. When I told them to stop nominating us, you know what they did? They stopped nominating us. They left us the fuck alone for a long time.
Then but one year, the last year, we didn't even think we were gonna win, or none of us went, and we won.
And we won anyway.
And that's and then I felt bad about that.
First
time we won, somebody stole our award.
Really? Well, that was the year that. So I was doing. Wilbert Longmire was the guitarist for Bob James.
Yeah.
And
Bob James is a beast.
Yeah, and Wilbur lives. It was here in town, and he used to do a bunch of stuff developing younger artists from SCPA and stuff, and first year students from CCM. And I went out and was working with him. I was playing drums on some shit and also helping them doing some recording stuff. And I ran into Wilbur backstage after we won.
Oh, that was
at the church.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And Bootsy and Patty were there, and I was like, oh, Wilbur's like, hey, and he introduced me to Bootsy for the first time. And then next week, I was at work with Tech.
Yeah.
This is while I was working with Tech.
It was the Roots project
and
or
they
something.
brought the little kids in.
But
Bootsy
then,
came
yeah.
in for that session.
Yeah.
And Bootsy was like, "Oh, he saw me working Pro Tools."
I
for
got him a
Tony."
water, and it was the only time ever he has like, and then he was like, "Could you bring me back one with
the
not
lid on?
opened?" Yeah,
Yeah.
like I was like, okay. I didn't think about it. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Sorry.
Thought you were trying to kill me, Bob.
Yeah.
So Boot had me come out just off Pro Tools skills. He's like, I just got a Pro Tools system at my spot. You think you come out help me, learn it and get it set up? I was like, sure.
Yeah.
So
And that was it.
and then went out there the first day working. He's like, I'm never gonna learn this. You want to just stay? And from there it was like I went from just engineering to writing stuff, doing TV shows with him, pilots, and then toured with him for years until I
James
started
Brown
having
thing.
kids and shit.
Yeah.
What did you do on tour? Just engineer?
For James Brown, I was just like,
Come on.
I was road
Hold
tech.
Up, bro.
Well, it was the James
Hold
Brown
up, bro.
It was
tour.
it was the year he died.
Yeah.
And everybody went out.
Went out for his.
It's James Brown, nonetheless.
Yeah.
So you went out on tour with James Brown?
No,
Well, everybody but James.
with young James Brown though.
Young James Brown. Shout out to Young James Brown.
Yeah.
Man. He be
Tony
turned up.
Wilson.
He be turned.
That's
Yeah.
my mother.
He'd be hot outside. He'd be nope.
I'm gonna tell you what. I
James Brown, man.
spent like, I don't know, 7 weeks or something on a bus with dude. I never seen him sleep.
Really?
One eye might close.
That's like the real James Brown though, right? Like that's what the cool.
But
He ain't playing.
Danny
Sorry,
Ray was the real one.
sleeping.
The guy who put the cape on James,
Yeah.
his real dude. That was the cat. I got
Oh.
recordings of him. I sat,
that's the-
I like sat next to him
Give me some more.
for the flights
That guy.
because he told the most insane stories you ever heard in your life.
Probably all true.
Oh my God, insane.
Yeah.
So some of that stuff was like, I was tech for that stuff, but then for Bootsy's with his band for his records, I was DJ, and I was like crew chief, DJ, and I was responsible for recording. So I did sound check, stage managed, got everything set, then had to go get dressed and join the band. It was some of the hardest work I've ever done.
Yeah.
I never had such great opportunities and wanted to cry and walk into traffic after every night. It was
You should have cried on stage.
it
That
was
would've been
insane.
your
Oh, I
swag.
did. That's what I do.
Did somebody have
Really?
That's why
Put it
that's why I play the way I play. Right?
your cape?
But yeah, I did that until my daughter was about almost 2 years old. So it's like 7 years or so. I've been pretty much home.
Give a shout out to all the rest of the people, the animal.
Oh, okay. Well, let's run it down. We'll
Casey Smith, King
Casey-
Smo.
aka the King Smo. Then Mike B, Mike
Mike
Boland,
B.
Mike B, detecting.
Who almost made it today.
Yeah.
He's out petting.
And yeah, he's got a new. And he's actually.
He's a detective.
Yeah.
I've seen that. He's a private eye or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
You can't be a private eye and be a public figure in a
Well,
DJ
he
group.
knows how to blend in.
Well, that's not.
Well,
That's not it.
and Mike's kind of
Casey's
chilled
a pilot.
Yeah, Casey's a for real pilot.
He used to pick me up. We'd fly to
Yeah.
go DJ shows.
Yeah, man. That's pretty
hard.
cool. Then also shout out to Matt Russo.
Matty Roo,
Matty Roo, Dirty Roo, as he's known.
Yeah.
Then we got also
Haiku,
the Haiku Break in
part of our
Verbal Onslaught.
coalition, and then rest in peace.
Then
for
rest in peace
Unseen.
to Unseen, BJ Testerman.
Yeah.
And we got some distant family
Oh, and then
members too.
shout out to Jason Lucky,
Happy
aka
birthday, buddy.
Nobody, the OG, and also our extended fam is the Alan Topspeed, and also our buddy Mr. Dibbs, and
Yeah, we owe a lot to Brad, Mr. Dibbs,
Yeah.
because he had a big foot first
yeah, man,
in the scratch scene,
and he always held us up.
yeah, he literally took gigs like, yeah, I'll do it, but you got to let these dudes play first.
Yeah, or like,
That's hard.
yeah,
and
So,
it's just a
he
good
gets mass love from us.
super
for that.
homie, man. And then who else am I leaving? We got Q and Rue and I don't want to forget.
Cool, Rule, DQ.
Yep.
What's your favorite record, man?
Oh my God.
Oh, and the Glue Crew, man.
Yeah, that's right, Dan.
Yeah,
Maker.
Adam, ADM, and
Yeah.
Maker.
Yeah,
right.
that's like
That's definitely part of our
Too. That was an offshoot.
yeah.
I went
Scribble
and did
and
that.
yeah.
My favorite record.
Your favorite record?
One that you always come back. You can always find a sample on to mess with.
Oh, like a
Just like this is. I love this record. There's so many uses for it.
Oh my God. I don't know about a sample record, but one I keep coming back to and I always listen to is Phantasmagoria. It's D-Styles.
Yeah, shout out to
One of
D-Styles.
the just
Yeah,
most innovative, like built literally from every piece is scratched. There's no looping.
Drum machine shit.
There's no MPC. There's nothing. It's all, everything is him.
Oh, man.
Dave is
And
amazing.
It was like
Boy's got
97,
touches.
all recordings from like 97, 2002, 2003.
I mean, his
heyday.
And it was like, it redefined scratch.
This is also pre-DVS.
well, like, I want to say
This is all pre-Serato.
Okay,
And that's the other thing, like, you know.
we are big D style guys, man. We want you guys want the content. Well,
You know, as a sport, DJing has always been a solo enterprise.
Yeah.
And one of the things we were successful at is we just said we're not going to do it like that. We're going to make a crew of cats that are all cool, you know. And we've always like kind of had different people kind of flux through, learn, study, you know, people want to know, ask us.
It's weird. I think our time, like at places like Tomcats, and we really got to know each other, like why we're playing. So we play to those strengths. So something that if you came in and you listened to us, you might think that something that's rehearsing, but we're not rehearsing. We're just
Tons
doing
of
it off
freestyle, improv.
It's like jazz in the movement.
It
When
was.
you go see a live jazz club, we knew the changes. Like,
Yeah.
this is coming.
And we
like,
know-
tone's gonna drop here.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
it's-
Like, cause what's the rehearsal like that? What's the
well-
rehearsal like?
Really, we don't have too many rehearsals these days, but when we do, I mean, I need to see these guys and get down. Otherwise, I will like shrivel up and
But during like the height where y'all got shows lined up,
we have certain things that we would do. We'd have like pieces of scratch stuff, and then scratch rap stuff, or then beatbox stuff. I mean, there'd be times where there'd be only a couple of us available, and I'd be like, I hope we can get some stuff because
it was hours of listening to stacks of records like this for 3 to 5 seconds of a snippet that we built. Like, it could be a loop that Toby freaked or Casey.
And then your stack is going to, you're going to have 15 records.
Yeah.
And,
swap them out real quick.
20 records, and then we're going to,
and it's really, really
rip through 'em for
freaking
the
hard,
next half
man,
hour.
when you have to do it in competition and where it's like, that's a really cool aspect about it, and I hope it doesn't go away, where at that very moment in time, and when it all came down to it, everybody else hit theirs and you blew it. But when it all comes together,
thanks, man.
not only saying, and it's just that aspect about playing music live. If it was so particular and it was so, I mean, there's nothing like having less than 5 seconds to swap out another record, throw another record on, find it, put it right on the thing, and then be in rhythm and hit it like right. I mean, it's it's pretty crazy.
There's also two different things that you probably need to talk about if you want to address, like, how do you come up with a scratch routine that 5 people do simultaneously.
Right.
The first thing is that almost all of them started as like freestyle improvisations that we would just record, because we would record every night, every 40-ounce double do session in the basement. We just mini disc, cassette, whatever.
I have all those too.
And we'd be like, yo, that's such and such thing we did, and you did that one thing, da-da-da. Oh, but if we put it with this,
it's on.
And so we'd retroactively kind of refine and take these rehearsal tapes almost in improv, even from my basement or from the shows on Wednesday nights that people were paying to go and see. We're just like freestyling basically the whole time. And we take those ideas and formulate
I'd say we're not
them.
like careless when we were doing I'd say.
No, but I'm saying we built those things off a hodgepodge. And then once it's set in stone, you don't fuck around. You do this many bars of this thing and this thing, because everybody's counting. So it becomes, it starts really organic and like this kind of do what the fuck ever.
And then it comes out,
but in order to get it 5 people doing it right, you have to be.
You got to be living it. You got to be.
And you have to do it the exact same,
and then,
that people can count on.
I would say there'd be times where we'd be like a man short, or we'd have to adjust whatever that is, and then we would acquiesce as such. We're like, well, he's not here today, and we don't have him for this, and this, so we'll do this longer or something, or
it takes one hiccup. Like, we did I remember Eric B and Rakim routine that we just made up for a Wednesday night. And we each had a vocal snippet of
a portion
of the same song. And I remember I pushed mine 2 rotations forward to get to the next thing. I was supposed to pull it back 2 times.
Or 2, right.
And it all fell apart. It's like it just takes one person on one hiccup and the whole
It's
thing.
like a house of cards. It's a really
Crumble.
delicate.
Yeah.
It's you can really tell because I don't think I ever got to see y'all live. But is it something that you can tell, or is it like
Well, no, because
messing with the
I'd say
lyrics?
just like anything else, the show must go on.
Just
so
keep going.
There's ways to like a quick fix, or when you have somebody with a microphone, or they can.
When they're young, there's like 5 seconds of panic.
Yeah.
You look at each other like, oh.
Yeah, but
And then you kind of.
But then once you get used to that, there's already like fail safes and
sometimes you singing, you're gonna crack, man.
or
if you're not trying,
and I think
that's
we
how
had
you're not trying if you're not making mistakes.
And then
Yeah.
it get to the point where
it's not
just come with it.
It also if you make mistakes or it's not perfect, it's because it's made by human and it's all not just like hitting the play button.
But hip hop is made of like happy mistakes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
That's where hip hop come from.
Right.
So it's like the more mistakes is really the more wins. Your fail if somebody else is like, hold up.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Well,
a
what's-
stroke of genius.
Let me
What's
try that,
cool
man.
is
Right.
that's what
It's a
some of us
stroke
would
of
come
genius.
from.
From Theodore, that's how the scratch was invented.
Yeah, exactly.
When his
Mom's
mom was
yelling
like,
at him.
turn down the fucking
And he just-
records,
Yeah.
and he had his hand on it.
You're
'cause
right.
He was trying to stop.
Who
the
is
music.
this?
Grandmaster
Grandmaster
Theodore.
Theodore.
Yeah,
Grandmaster
that's how he made
Theodore.
up the scratches. He was like screwing with something, and his mom was like, "Turn it down or something, do something," and he was like,
Hands
"Put
"Put
his
it
hand
down."
on
trying
it
to
to
stop
stop
the
it.
music, and it kind of was rubbing back.
Good,
and
right.
forth.
He's like,
Whoa.
ooh.
That's how he found it. It was just so awesome.
That
That was
sounds
the first
weird.
scratch ever.
Then he
ever in
ruined all of
history.
her records after
Right.
that.
Yeah,
know?
yeah,
The other thing about DJing too that's really tough, most people don't know, is that the difference between this and this is whack.
yeah.
What you mean?
The accuracy that you have to have
Yeah.
when you're scratching records is really there's so little room for error.
Well, I mean, and there's things that you can, like you said, make opportunities out of mistakes, where you literally can create a whole new thing where, the whole kind of like with hip hop. So even the they have all these
stumbling and dumb luck.
DVS systems now with the vinyl or with the but like within that are all these little things that are. So you're supposed to set it up like this, but in between that, line of signal, there's all kinds of things that you could accidentally come upon that will, make a new sound, or you could like freak in a battle, or
Lo-fi, take the trouble
or just anything. Like and like that's just kind of a pitfall of when you make something new and you integrate it into whatever's old. All those things that are kind of like, I'm sure there's still some out there. Like that's how scratching was invented. So you're right.
A lot of people knock DVS as like a crutch or it's cheating or it's not the essence, but I mean, if you have a crossfader with an adjustable curve,
You're already
that's
cheating.
If you have a cue system where you can listen to your
Yeah,
Free
that's,
fader
that's
listen.
cheating.
that's
Like,
cheating.
Yeah,
If you
PFL,
have
but
specially
weighted
designed
head shells,
head
needles,
shells, and that's
and now you put a slip mat on it with a piece of wax paper.
this is all progression. It's
What's that do? Give you extra?
No, I think
Resistance.
Yeah. But what it would
spins
be is
faster. You could pull it and get 2 or 3 rotations in one pull instead of it being real slow and
so like,
staticky.
and then like scratching is different. I mean, the term DJing, like the whole thing, is like so many different kinds of ways to do it that you can't really equate it. Now you can. I always believe in being positive about any of it, versus like I've heard others like kind of, especially with scratching, is like something that you can be really good at it and you put a bunch of time into it, just like with digging records and finding samples and producing. But there's this kind of like, and it's really because sometimes people don't want to admit that they're not giving it its props because they can't do it, and that would take away from their opportunities to, not to, basically, how would I put it? Like, what's the point of, why are you dissing something that you can't yourself do?
That's why.
Well, that's not really. But then
It makes sense in a hater's head, man.
yeah, no, I know. But then when you take it to somebody that's not a DJ, the average listening, they don't see it. They're like, well, that's not easy, or you know what I mean? It's not.
That's insecurity for a lack of skill there. You
Definitely.
knock other people down,
But-
build yourself up. But there's always, since the beginning of hip hop, there's been exploitative.
But hip hop's not
artists who have
DJing.
used
You know what I
the
mean?
tools of like reaching in and borrowing from this for
Yeah.
their own benefit, but not really contributing anything back.
Right.
And using that to hoist themselves up. That's been going on forever.
Yeah,
the
I
same
mean,
thing in DJing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm a DJ, and the connotations that are
Are
associated
so-
with that are broad, which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's also like they're kind of sometimes level jumping on things that they don't show homage to
Yeah,
the
yeah.
predecessors that got them to that point.
And that's kind of like, I guess that sucks.
In hip hop, you kind of can't not show homage because a lot of stuff is a sample. So it's like instant homage because you even took the time to break this down, or you thought it was interesting enough. But like, we still got to give flowers because there's some people out here who created certain stuff. It's like, man, they not in a good position right now. It's like, man, you don't even know who I was or am still.
Well, that's why it's important to always be, the best on the best positive thing about something. Like, even I hear music that I might necessarily enjoy, but I try to find something in it that I like. It could be hard, but I'd rather speak on that, or, I'm not going to tear somebody down because, I don't like the tone of their voice or necessarily the words they say, but I might like the way that they...
Everybody's got a favorite color, and you're not going to
Well,
convince me to change mine, and
I think more people did that.
Let's get over that.
Or like,
coexist.
Get over that now.
Or like, no, like, we're here.
I'd rather listen to country than reggae.
Well, new country?
New country's hard, man. Like,
no, man, I kind of just like...
Well, you take. I mean, country and rap, and all you get.
What I'm saying here, generationally.
Crap.
So, generation-wise,
But country and R&B is the same thing.
Yeah, they are.
Pretty much so.
Generation-wise, it's
Especially
whenever
thematically.
people put whenever they say in our day it was harder or such and such, like, that's not really the right way to approach it, because you want to relate to somebody, but you can't relate to them negatively, telling them, because every younger generation has their music. We did, the people before us did.
They're not hearing you.
So but they will if you relate to them in a better way, where it's like, say something about that they enjoyed or something that relates to it, other than saying like, same thing with like lists. I hate top 5 lists. Like, who's your top 5?
It's all relative. I'm dating a lady who 80 years old, and she get mad at me because I don't know certain dances. She be like, "What the hell you mean you don't know the mashed potato?" I be like, "I don't know the mashed potato." The fuck,
motherfuckers.
Back in the day, we used to call it the potato famine.
That was hard.
I don't
really like
that was hard.
As far as my legacy, or like our legacy in music and where our place, I don't care if people recognize me for what I did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's like leaving a voice on the answering machine. It's like, I said what I said, and it's out there, and it's yours to do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
And whatever I achieved, when I walking across that stage and seeing the tablecloth with DMC World Championship, and walking on that same stage that I watched 10 years prior, and all those VHS tapes, that was it, and nobody can take that away from me. No one can redefine my history or my contributions, and that's enough for me. I put it out there. You can do whatever you want with it, but I know I can go to bed.
That's a real good point, because for me, the scratch thing was always just a much lighter version. It was like recess for my musicality. I took my drumming really, really seriously, and my playtime was like digging through vinyl and playing with records and scratching.
But then it got bigger.
And then it got literally, tables got turned.
Especially
and it became a commodity to scratch records like that, But I always took it like with a grain of sand in that way. You know what I mean? I love interacting.
It's a little bit better when it's something you love and you just having fun with anyway.
Yeah, I love interacting and doing improv. We did it
because we like to hear it amongst each other.
Yeah.
And people can feel that, and that's why you get pushed up. Like,
yeah.
Like when we was doing Crack Sauce, like people could hear that we was having fun in the studio.
Yeah.
You could hear it.
That's attractive.
Yeah.
If they people,
especially if you're not happy or you want to be happy, like, man, hearing that, it just it translates.
I always like it would probably be in the live element, where it is talking to people musically on stage that you never met in a way, or you see them play and that's how you relate to them, or like the whole off the block thing that I did with those younger guys.
Yeah.
Like, that was so awesome because I did this whole Top Cats thing around the guy out in the front, like, conducting and telling people, round 1, and then years later, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm hyping upon this thing where I'm the dude in the turntables, and I'm just cutting them back, and then they're rapping and at the Mockbee, and they're like, they see that and they feel like they're on the shit that they see on the internet, and then next thing you know, the more people come up, and where I get to tell them, like, if they listen, just like small things that moving forward in their musical endeavors, like, would be worth knowing. Like, you know, if you want to have your best performance, come early and have your things that you need to have together instead of just showing up and handing me like a flash drive. You're like, what do you want me to do with this, man? And I'm actually doing
Here's
this
my
for another
phone.
guy.
My set's on here.
Or, you know, or even like just, you know, small things. Like, don't ever tell somebody to do something on a microphone in a room full of people, because they're not going to want to do that, because you might be kind of sounding like a dick and you're giving their orders. Like, you know, there's just like certain small things, or the way to hold a microphone, or the way to, you know, adjust your turntables as such, or, you know, it's like that kind of stuff is awesome. And I love whenever I get that joy from telling somebody that retains it, or help somebody out in a way that I uniquely can, and they would listen. That is like so good. And like, that's why I love music, is because it's something that we can do right now. You can do it 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and you can do it with somebody, and it's not necessarily just talking and bullshitting, like bantering. You're like just locked into something, you know, like rhythmically, and it's relatable and it's fun, and, you know, and you can also convey all the emotions as such, you know, and it's all, at the end of the day, it's all in good spirit, which is really, you know, why we're all here. If we have to be here, might as well try to, you know.
Selfishly, I loved being underestimated.
Yeah,
I loved walking into any room like this.
Yeah.
Come as you are.
Yeah, yeah.
And I remember the first time I was invited up on stage on Tapcast before I was a
Cracker.
The Animal Cracker.
Yeah.
And Mr. Dibbs was there, and I was, and he gave me this kind of like, who the fuck are you? Look.
Yeah.
And then I scratched, and he was like, where are you from?
Right. And then I think overall,
it was validating, and I loved
Love that.
every moment of that. Walking in the house party, just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Being underrated.
We got that a lot too. I think we were a special kind of. They never saw us coming. And then,
I feel like that's a good position to be in at all times, because like, you got a whole bunch of headroom. You can't really fail,
Right.
especially if you good. Like people like the Locks.
Yeah.
Like, they don't get as much shine as they probably should, but because they underrated, they gonna tour for forever.
Yeah.
Because people like, they don't get to shine they shit. So come out, we got a bag for you. We got it.
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about this on one of the last episodes. I feel like it should be a hip hop stock exchange where you can like, I want to invest my money into Jay-Z's stock.
Right.
Because I know it's gonna win. It's like a Procter and Gamble at this point.
Blue
Like,
chip.
it's gonna give me an ROI of something every year.
Right.
Or like a new hot artist. I'm about to dump a whole bunch of money in this and then pull it out. Because after they get their 6-month run,
You know they're gonna flush him and find somebody else.
it might shoot up.
That's like betting on the people and potential, and, you know, that time's like happens in the universe. So there is no quantitative way to do it unless you already have what they have in their accolades behind
Kanye
them.
coins.
Yeah.
Kanye coin. Ooh. He would kill his own stock. He would kill his own stock.
Which
You'd
is
be
good,
watching like,
no. As long as he bring it back up, like he has somehow.
It would be fluctuating like his him.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of, but in a way, he kind of did that.
We're the green.
Like his first big jump, man, was when he was first getting his props, and like the whole Katrina thing, man. Like nobody saw that coming, and then they were like, damn, and like that was crazy.
Was he with David Spade? Is that who he's next to?
No, he's with Mike Myers. Mike Myers.
Mike Myers. Yeah.
But I mean, but that's crazy. But then that elevates his.
Michael Myers.
You know,
Come on.
Same dude.
Short white
Same,
guy. You know what I'm talking about.
Then the other one would be like, I mean, you know, Old Dirty. He went up on stage in fucking at the Grammys, but he did it during like when they were doing like the European single of the year, and he did it like before a commercial break, and all he said was, you know, Puffy is good, but, you know, Wu-Tang's for the children. I got a new outfit, and, you know, I'm out. Like, I think he left the thing, but I mean, I guess it's all about timing.
They got in the limo and ate ramen noodles.
Oh yeah, that's right. With the
Tahitian Street.
Hey,
Take a limo to the welfare office.
Yeah, I remember that. And then
that's a felony right there.
And then he also always would speak his mind anytime he was on.
People love transparent realness.
Yeah.
Because so many people feel like they can't be real. There's some people bound up. Like, I want to be real so bad, but I can't. So play that Wu-Tang, bruh. Well, I need it.
Yeah, but I mean, there's certain times, I guess, that there's always got to be like when you're appropriate or not appropriate, or not so. I hate saying social cues, but
it kind of is though.
I mean, but dude, somebody really like some person that's just over the top of everything, like, you know what I mean?
Or just reading the room and then still going against it and then creating that where people like they remember you. because you went against it. I don't have much more time with y'all, and I think we have to come back to really get more into it, man. Let me give y'all like 2 more quick questions. Okay. Greatest DJ ever.
Ooh.
What would you say? Other than the Animal Crackers, you can.
Oh, definitely none of us.
Oh, jeez, man. I would, like, I have my personal taste, and then I have, like, who I think is really just amazing. Beyond, I don't know, man.
I'll probably have to stick with the tried and true.
Ew. I'm not. I can't even say.
Stick with my. I probably got to stick with my. I'll probably say Qbert still.
Yeah,
just his solo, his phrasing for his solos are more like a true instrumentalist than most DJs could ever even contemplate. His phrasing, the way he stitches it together, and his vocabulary for scratches is not to be with, pretty much.
What does that mean? Vocabulary for scratches?
Just different ways to...
The chaining, the different ways he can chain together the phrases to make new musical structures out of them. There's not many people nastier
maybe
at that.
Yeah, I mean, same. I mean, and I even hate saying like
more funk.
Yeah.
Like fill in like negative space.
But it's kind of between those two. For me, it's kind of.
I feel like for me, I always refer to like a scratch Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Theodore, the inventor.
Yeah.
Like Flash, basically the innovator of the doubles and crossfader style.
The break.
Then Qbert just for innovation of scratch and
techniques.
progression. And then Craze is the battle, like the all-time battle.
Yeah, I mean, Craze is amazing.
Yeah.
No celebrity DJs, no DJ Polly from Jersey Shore.
But then but somebody like I always like Mixmaster Mike a lot because you always can tell when it's him, and you can feel him fucking thrashing the at it, especially when he drums.
Different character.
And then there's only things that he can do that are really cool, and he's just there too. But then there's guys like just Rock Raider or like that just they do like juggles and stuff where it's how the hell did he do that? And
I mean, there's just super freaks too, like Rafiq. He's something else too. But I think traditionally, I would say.
I'm going to go with I don't have a favorite DJ because they're all so awesome. Maybe Kool Herc because I met him and the dread fell off of his dread and I was like, he knew I was weird and I was like, yo, can I have this? And he was like, he's like, yeah, no, you can have it.
He said, and he gave it to you.
I mean, it was, he did.
And one of his dreads fell off.
Yeah, with my present. Like, that's...
It was made for you. You should have sewn it in.
I did. They cut them off at Top Cats, and then I had my dreads. How are you not going to do that, though, man? If you're sitting there with Kool Herc...
One of his dreads fall off. You got to take
like that. Like a little piece of it did, and it was almost like he knew I was going to ask because it was weird. And I was like, I mean, yeah, but whatever, like... You know, you're not gonna, keep Kool Herc's dread.
What you got? Where is it now?
That's probably at my house with my memorabilia, man. Like I don't know, like I don't think like
an entomology collection with a couple bugs.
No, dude, no. Just that's my only piece of hair.
We had a couple of yours that we kept at the studio. When
they cut them off at the last night we did Top Cats. No,
somebody kept some.
Somebody kept them,
one, and I put it in the studio. For a minute.
I mean,
you should send Kool Herc's dreads 32 and what is it called?
Like 32 and me,
or 32 figure out his genealogy.
Yeah,
bro.
right.
I wouldn't do that. That without his permission. But I mean, I would keep it. The only reason I kept it.
I'm going to China.
That's why I kept it.
To clone Kool Herc.
What a culture, though.
But he's still here, though. So, but we can make him better, strong, faster, stronger. Like the
like
$6 billion man. No, that's $6 billion man, right? $6 billion man. Yeah. We can build him, make him faster. So, like that's why I kept it. I mean, that, and it was right in front of me. He said I could.
Kool Herc Part 2 coming soon.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thanks to Noah.
Yeah.
Let me see what else I got, man. Because I didn't get to a lot of the stuff I want to get to. But we did good, man. 5 studio must-haves. Y'all locking in the studio.
Ooh.
What's 5 things you gotta have?
It's really good.
It could be a little bit of that jazz cabbage. Maybe you got a little drink. Maybe a loose woman.
You definitely gotta have studio weed.
You gotta have studio weed.
You gotta have studio weed.
Okay.
Regular, just Reggie. Because it get kind of crazy right now. You might jump off the building.
Right.
Oh Lord, the walls are closing in.
I would say you definitely have to have the right kind of like spirit and attitude.
I think vibe. I think the camaraderie of a session. If you were going into the studio to make music, the most important thing is
with other people too.
The vibe and the commitment of the people that are there. Because I would never give you a list and say, I need this microphone, I need this thing, I need Pro Tools, I need this plugins, I need
red
M&Ms. I don't need any of that shit because we made great records with anything that you could find. So the studio doesn't need anything from a gear standpoint. Technically, for me, it needs the right people that have the right goal in mind.
Yeah.
But they gotta have the right things that put them in.
Well, yeah, they gotta have money.
They gotta make magic and money. Those are the two things that make all shit happen.
You know, we're totally out with it, man.
The studio. Some people treat it like a sacred place. I think it should be demystified, and it's like a fucking kitchen. You got to make a mess. Just go in there and do it.
Find yourself in there.
Yeah, and I think you got to have people that have the right empathy and emotion about it, because that can fuck a session up. If you don't have the right people in there, great art can get ruined that way.
Yeah.
Or a girlfriend just walking in randomly will suck the energy out the room.
Oh,
yeah, that happens, don't it?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, man.
Shout out to girlfriends.
I was in the studio session. You could see the energy leave. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Don't make that shit. Take that with me. Good vibe went out.
And then she just said something random like, I forget what it was, but the energy left everybody. It was just silence, and it was just like...
That's like a talent with some people.
Let's go and wrap it up.
It's like their thing.
So, that's you gotta... There's smart people and talented people, but if you can't be cool, get along type of person, I don't want you in a session. I don't give a what you know or how good you are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're like ruining the thing that should be fun.
Yeah, like temperament, I guess, would be a good one. Like think about somebody recording a really sad song and like somebody's in there like, hey, yo, why y'all bummed out?
Well, one of the greatest quotes is, what do you need for good art?
Yeah.
A great idea and not enough time.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's what you need in the studio.
I never heard that. That's interesting.
That's what you need. That's how you get something out of it.
Yeah.
The deadlines. Dan, you got one?
So what you got, Dan? What you need to become DQ in the studio?
20 years ago, it was a lot of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Hey.
Some either Orange Crush or Grape Crush.
Yes, dude.
Orange and soda. It was a digital 16-track recorder.
Yeah.
And it was basic. Like, I literally made my solo albums.
One turntable, one mix stick.
And then...
It's sitting on the floor, not even having a table, no furniture in my studio apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm pretty stripped down. I'm not well versed in studio equipment or ideology.
You kind of like...
These two guys are. I'm more of an organic...
I like making whatever you got.
Pretentious guy.
Whatever you work with.
Yeah. Make something out of nothing.
Yeah, that's like, because that's the spirit of like hip hop, especially. It's like, well, this is all we have. We have a freaking
improv. Everything is improv.
We have a tape recorder, and we have a glass of water, and we have
you want the apples? Chairs. You want the apples? Okay, good.
Yeah. So, and then I guess, but the pressure thing is weird though, because if you got somebody in there. Like, well, hit the damn take, get the take. Like, it's like, I will mess up because this asshole's here. Like,
I hate recording. For some reason, I hate leaving a voice message. Like, you can't take it back. Once it's out there, and it's not always, what you intended to say.
Hey, what you said? You said what you said.
Yeah, but I said what I said.
Say what you said. Say what you said.
Say what you said. You said what you said.
And that's why Noah's been asking me for 10 years to record some scratch, and I haven't done it.
I know. It's like... And I don't even want to be there when he does it.
Okay, I'm gonna try to keep it two more quick ones. What was y'all favorite place to find music? Cause I'm a Kips record guy.
Yeah.
Gone.
Record Arcade.
Man.
Record Arcade.
College Hill.
Yeah.
I remember walking in there, posters. My room would be full of posters of people I had no idea who they was, but just going in there. The first record I got was like I want to say like out of there was like Mace Double Up. My mom made me walk right back. Take off. My mom cussed me out for buying a record with cussing.
Right.
It made me take it back.
Awesome. That's awesome.
What you think you was doing?
Take that shit back. You gonna bring all that dirty, filthy mother cussing in this house. We don't do all that. Like, okay. Every cuss word I know I learned from you, man.
I remember taking my mom to one of her doctor's appointments, and I just so happened I was listening to the song your mom's in my business. She's in my business. And she was like, oh, I kind of like this song. And I was like, all right, Mom.
My mom's name is Kilman. I remember playing Eminem's Kilman.
Oh, damn.
My mom was like, hey, bruh. Hey, bruh.
No goods.
Yeah.
Hey, bruh.
Oh,
Get out of
jeez.
here, man.
I like finding music like, I mean, I love like Everybody's and Shake It and like all the record spots, just whenever I come upon them. But it's really when I hear something that I've never, like, wouldn't expect to hear it, and I hear it in a place where I wasn't expecting it, and I'm like, damn, I gotta find some way to get a copy of that, even though it's not in circulation.
If you had Shazam back in the 90s.
Yeah, I still be stumping.
So let's put one in the air for Jerry's Squirrel Hill.
Oh yeah, and right.
I don't think I remember that one.
No, this is probably
Pittsburgh?
the best record store I have ever been to.
Where
Like,
was it at?
Yeah, outside of Pittsburgh, Squirrel Hill, Pittsburgh. This dude named Jerry had this place, and his shit was so organized. And even if he didn't have what you wanted, you could write down on a piece of paper the things you wanted
and
in a contact.
Yeah.
And a few
Good
months
idea.
later, that boy reach out to you and let you
Wow.
know he found the records you were looking for. Some of my favorite times for DJing was digging for records with homies.
Yeah.
And I loved finding shit that you didn't. I hated going and looking for top tier stuff that people wanted to find.
Yeah.
I love going and uncovering some random strange thing that's like a unicorn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You getting other people hip too.
Yeah,
Or
I always dug that. Or just the fact to listen to this terrible record to get to the one thing that was rad on
What
one
about
song.
just the anti thing? I remember this one time Tobe was like, I'm not gonna. You just played all these whatever mix of like, there'd be a 12-inch and it would have like this really out of genre mix of it. And I just remember Tobe like doing like this mix, like because he usually wouldn't just play records like we all kind of have to sometimes, and he would just play like all like I don't want to say they're bad, but it was just very very. It was dope though.
Farther than B-side almost.
Yeah, it was like
it's like deep digs,
Yeah,
pulling out the stuff that people go, oh my god, why are you playing this? Like,
it's like the weird European like jungle mix of like get the Feral Munch, get the F up, and then let's follow it up with the DOC, elevator jazz,
Ella Fitzgerald remix or something, right?
What about you, DQ? Where would you find? Where's your favorite place to find a record?
Ooh, unlikely spots. Like a lot of the records I found.
Thrift shop.
Yeah, thrift stores, definitely. And then before Half Price Books knew what it really had,
Yeah.
I found a lot of
Used to be like
$50
up there,
records
Yeah.
in the dollar
For
bin.
$2.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's like
So
I always kind
and
of
then all the Beatles records are like $75.
Yeah.
But all the good stuff was in the dollar section
Yeah.
there. I think they're a little more wise to what they have nowadays.
you can still find ones that are kind of chewed, but
Yeah. But that and like up in Columbus, there's a place called Used Kids Records
Yeah.
that was really great.
That was cool.
And Gold Mine Records that was kind of off the beaten path was really great.
Leggin Library hooked us up a couple
oh
times.
yeah, so
Hey, the library, man.
we took the
UC used to- had a
Russo
couple-
worked at the listening library, and then they folded it, and then he just calls me up like, "Yo, they got all these records," and I brought his truck, and we just took.
They're literally bins
And they
on
just
the
let y'all
Yeah.
have them?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah. That's what
Massive dump.
they put them out for
Really?
people to take.
thousands.
And then I was just like, I mean, that's literally like whenever, that's kind of my mindset. If it's there right there for that second and they're letting you have it, might as well take them all and see what we can get, because like that opportunity's not going to be there next time. Like
We had a
I jumped in dumpsters. I mean, I so many like just to
Yeah.
even.
the culture.
For the culture. Yeah.
people
Yeah.
emptying garages.
I mean,
garage
really,
sales,
yeah.
all that
Look,
stuff.
we have weirdo friends that are on like benders, like show up with like records that smell like cat pee, but they knew that we like records, so they brought them anyway. And like,
The wettest one was fire.
yeah, right.
Fire's one.
That's Streisand, like,
That's a dank record, boy. Yeah.
right.
Big smelly cat pee Mickey, I believe.
Oh, jeez, dude. Shout out to Joey, our dude Joey on that one. Joey's
man-
Docs.
We didn't really get into you just like recording everything. I want to get deeper into that.
Yeah.
I want to get deeper into you, because I feel like usually the person who the quietest is like when they speak, it's be some profound.
That's it. You nailed it on the head.
Every time I
know.
did
You nailed it on the head.
Yeah.
And we didn't get into you being a teacher.
Yeah.
It's a lot of stuff we didn't get to get into, man. But we're gonna wrap this one up.
Yeah.
And hopefully y'all can come back, man, and then talk more about this little nuances.
We'd love to.
and
We
stuff.
love
Yeah.
the hospitality here.
Yeah.
See,
Hey,
Six?
man.
And I thought it would be cool to do the thing, so.
Yeah. Let's
you
get
know?
back on that, man. The very last question is, what's the best advice either you ever received or that you can give to somebody who on the up and coming, or just period?
I would just say, think about things, and when it's your opportunity, show them your heart, show them your best stuff. Yeah.
Just be yourself without compromise, because it's hard to keep up a facade. That's going to wear you out quicker than anything else you try to do in life.
Yeah.
If you can't be good, surround yourself with people that are better than you.
That's hard too. That's that network. That's building a team, man. Find somebody who can do what you can't do, and better, man. One of my favorite pieces of advice that I always say on this show is make sure it's a fart first. It's nothing worse.
Be sure.
Be sure, man. It's nothing worse than you thinking you about to, a little surprise come out, man.
Confidence can go a long way, see?
Man, sometimes you be like, man, I think I can slide this air around.
Gassed up.
What I know is in there, man. Just let me. And you be like, uh-oh. So, yeah, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in, listening wherever you at. Make sure you subscribe to the Type Shit Podcast. TYPESHITPODCAST. Got a gang of good content, great content over there, man. And just keep checking us out, man. Week after week, 91.7 WVXU. We're going live every week at 11 a.m. So make sure you check us out there. And also, check out my I do these Rick Ross impressions on TikTok.
Which one? Real
The
Rick
boss.
Ross? Oh, that one. Okay.
So make sure you check me out over at the Type Shit Pod on TikTok. Believe that. Oh. But yeah, man, it's going crazy right now. I got like 18,000 followers. I don't know how this happened, man, but we're gonna ride it out, man. So
R&R,
the biggest. Sometimes I just like to make a sandwich and don't even eat it. I tell people I fried a piece of bologna and made a yarmulke out of it. Oh, those.
Say some animal crackers, stuff like that.
Oh yeah, the animal crackers. Make sure, and it just turned off, but it don't even matter, cause Fat Boy is still gonna promote. So make sure y'all check out the animal crackers. Where can they find y'all at?
underneath rocks in backyards, aisle 3 of Kroger, usually on the right-hand side.
Currently, we have a SoundCloud page of stuff that we've released. It's not that cool. I mean, it's awesome, but to us, it's not.
That's terrible promotion for you.
I know. I actually really do want to talk about it.
We got a dial-up modem with a.
We have a. If you want to hear our music
one
that
of them free
passed,
AOL discs from Walmart.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, man, I think it's about time for y'all to have a show, man. Even if y'all don't do nothing but like Top Cats, which will be timeless and classic just because it's Top Cats.
We already did that though. Like it was horrible. It was horrible.
You can't let them be part of the promotion.
We got a bomb threat. No. Oh yeah, I mean that was
got a bomb threat at it.
Yeah, it was a bomb threat at it. It's like they reopened it and then it's only like I wouldn't have done it. But you already signed on to do it, and it was like we went in there, and there was like 8 people that were key parts of that whole era that they're all not on this planet anymore. So, but it was just whoever the new owners were, they were smart enough to get a young lady that was like, well, this would work, and they got us some dibs to play, and it was so kind of crazy because it was weird, man. It was like there was young people telling me what to do, and it was really clean in there, and like Bobby and Vicky
didn't smell like piss.
Yeah, it was like ungrunted. I mean, it was
it's like
it was
they
weird.
opened Studio 54 in Disney World.
Yeah.
Kind of like it was not.
And so thank God somebody called in a bomb
security
threat.
guard saying these are the original DJs from the 80s.
Yeah.
That are here from, and it was. So there's such a disconnect. Not only generation.
I mean, props to people that came out that never really been a part of the OG Top Cats night. I mean, they get mass love, but it was just weird because a lot of the people that were key people for that night and the whole thing were like not there, leaving like they're dead. And it was just kind of, I had a real hard time that night. It was fucked up.
We like playing music, so maybe we'll do it
whatever.
again.
Yeah, man, I think y'all should come back out, man. Maybe throw Napoleon on there, Sons of Silverton on there, man. Just have a couple, just something real intimate, fun. Because there's people who love y'all that'll definitely come out, man. And rock, and I think it'll be good content.
420.
To get these.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. We did the 420 festival for the first time on Short Vine, which was very weird because yeah. We did like a little early set, and it was just strange because it's really high, and we're like on Short Vine Street, where the point would be any other time I'd be there. It's like we have to hide and do this, and it was just so like it was so cool. I was like tripped out on it. It was
that was a live concept to like have. Pretty much a block party. I mean, the stage right in front of Bogart.
I never thought that they would have let that fly there.
Yeah, and they did, and it was
for all the years I lived in Clifton.
I mean,
that was hard.
Yeah, man. I mean, it shows how how much things have. Yeah, man. I mean, shoot.
When the money start flowing in, a lot of stuff start being. Oh yeah, go ahead, do that.
Go ahead and go for it.
We ain't as conservative as we said we would.
Right. Yeah. Tax base. Yes, sir. Please.
Yeah.
You gotta have some money to be conservative.
Right.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
man. Appreciate
Very
y'all.
much appreciate it.
Make sure y'all check out Animal Crackers. No matter what Noah says, man, it's good. It's good, man.
It's good.
So man. Appreciate y'all. And until next time. Goodbye. Bye.